Hello, this is Bullet, aka the Passive Aggressive Sherpa. In today's video, I want to share some thoughts on Destiny 2's next update, Tuesday, March 27th. This has been another difficult video to make because every time I sit down and start writing it, I end up losing my temper and just walking away from it. The reason being, Bungie has this way of turning something into nothing, and it's spectacular. Their ability to implement so many positive changes and yet make the results of all those changes be almost pointless. The best way to explain this is to look at some of the things they're changing and then explain why they probably won't matter. But before I do that, it's important to make it very clear that I haven't played the upcoming changes. I can only go by the information released by Bungie and what we've learned from past updates we've seen so far in Destiny 2. What follows are my opinions based on those facts known at the time of making this video. Let's dive into some of the coming changes to the Crucible. It's important to mention that I've never been a fan of the Crucible. I've always found it to be terribly slow. For me, Crucible gameplay falls somewhere between boring and at best mildly entertaining. Yet, when they announced a couple of months ago all the changes coming to the Crucible, I was excited for these changes. They said they're bringing back 6v6. Great. Most of us all know that 4v4 was an epic failure. They also plan to shorten our respawn times. This is huge, and one of the things that has always slowed down the PvP experience in Destiny. And they are buffing our power and weapons, doing so to help us feel fast and strong once again. More abilities, more damage done with our weapons. This is going to be great, right? Oh, and there's the new quitter's penalty. This is something that has long been needed. Quitting should almost never be an option. How could any of this not be an improvement to the game? Well, here's what's wrong with some of it. And for me, it's a real bummer. Though the addition of 6v6 is a good thing, I don't have any complaints there. Same goes for decreasing the spawn times. That is probably the single best thing to ever happen to the Crucible, and it very well could be the one thing that saves Destiny 2. But some of these other improvements, as it turns out, have some issues. These are issues that are just so frustrating that it takes away from all the great things they're doing. Let me briefly explain that statement. Bungie is the only company I know that can overthink an issue to the point of taking all the fun out of it. They can overthink something to the point of it looking like they didn't think about it at all. Take, for example, all that new power and speed they're going to give us. We get to move faster, do more damage with our weapons and abilities. And yet, the time to kill is going to remain the same? I don't even know how that's possible, but apparently it is. Bungie managed to break the laws of physics. What is the point to an increase in speed and damage output in a game that is all about killing our enemies as quickly as possible? Let me use this analogy to explain. Without increasing the time to kill, it's like right now we have a small bag of M&Ms, but we can only eat one single M&M at a time. But then Bungie comes along and says, "We have great news. Soon you'll be able to eat even more M&Ms." And we all cheer. Finally, we scream. Then, after we all get excited, we're told that we're getting larger bags of M&Ms. And many in the crowd cheer. But the rest of us are like, but wait a minute. We can still only eat one M&M at a time. If that's the case, then why bother with the bigger bag? It's not going to make a bit of difference in the long run. So all that great speed and power is now going to make us feel faster and stronger, but not really be any faster and stronger in some weird way that only Bungie could accomplish. Then there's the quitter's penalty. As we all know in Destiny 2, our ability to do almost everything within the game was reduced. Less options in the game for everything. In Destiny, I was always shocked at how limiting the game modes were. The fact that anyone even bothered to play the Crucible to me was sad. In a respectable PvP environment, if you want to play, say, Team Deathmatch, you can, because it's by far the most popular version of the game. But Bungie never seems to want you to have that choice. They want you to choose between a limited amount of options of only what they want you to play. Then for some unknown reason, they start calling the most boring of game modes competitive. This is important to remember. As of right now, in the Crucible, you have two options, quick play and their pretend competitive mode. That's it. Two options. Their entire PvP system only allows for 2 game mode options, and they wonder why they can't get serious competitive players to play the game. But here's the thing, when Bungie said that they were adding their quitter penalty, I was again thrilled. Why? Because quitters suck, and when there's no penalty for quitting, people will just quit. They will rage quit, they will quit because they get an invite from a friend. Some assholes will go into a game because they have nothing to do for 5 minutes and have no problem jumping into a match knowing they're going to have to quit early. Bungie had yet another chance to make real change, to allow for a system that would create penalties for those who repeatedly quit matches early. That's all they had to do. It's such a simple concept. But as it turns out, that's not what Bungie is doing. Nope. That big quitter penalty they boasted about for a lot of us will never matter. Why? Because unless you play their pretend competitive mode, quitting still doesn't matter. Because that's the only place the quitter's penalty will be in effect. They justify this idiocy by explaining that in competitive game modes, players aren't allowed to enter back into the game. First of all, that's just stupid. But okay, I get it. It's their pretend competitive mode, and they can do what they want. They further explain that in the quick play system, players can join mid-game. Therefore, there's no need for a quitter's penalty. Again, many will take this explanation and be okay with it, because being shallow isn't a crime. Here's the problem with it. The primary goal of something called a quitter's penalty should be to specifically punish those that quit. That's why you call it a quitter's penalty. You have the word quitter and the word penalty. It's hard to screw that up, but somehow they managed to. Bungie did not create a quitter's penalty because, by their own admission, they're not penalizing players for quitting. They are instead penalizing players that are screwing other players by leaving the game early. Either there's a penalty for those that quit, or there is not. Bungie is not penalizing anyone for quitting. They are penalizing players who leave their teammates hanging. And that's stupid, because no line is drawn. Furthermore, they are condoning the behavior by allowing it to continue in quick play. The fact that players can join a quick play match mid-game should be irrelevant. The penalty should be for quitting, period. But Bungie is flat out saying that quitting is okay if you're in the quick play mode. And that's wrong. Assholes quitting early is a huge problem in all game modes. It's not just a PvP thing. Those quitting early in strikes, raids, Nightfall, it's a problem. And what Bungie has just inadvertently done is tell every quitter that it's okay to quit in every game mode except for competitive. Worse, even as I understand it, the one actual competitive game in all of Destiny 2, Trials, and guess what? No quitter penalty there. So, let's move on to Nightfall. And once again, let me start by making it clear that I hate what the weekly Nightfall has become in Destiny 2. In my opinion, it just got worse with the last update. But it's important to understand that in Destiny, I loved the weekly Nightfall. I spent almost all of my time trying to solo the weekly Nightfalls. Managed to solo all but one of them. I was proud of that. Then, like everything else in Destiny 2, they screwed it up. Instead of just adding a prestige mode, personally I believe that is a great idea, but they changed the very things that made Nightfall great, and in the latest update, they somehow made it worse. Now we're coming up on the next update, and there's going to be big changes, they say. But that's not really the case. What they are promising is Nightfall-specific loot. They were going to let us know what the loot is. Then they decided, at the request of many players, to not show us any of the new loot so that it would be a surprise. Actually, that's not completely true. What the many players asked for is that Bungie show us like one weapon and one piece of armor. What does Bungie do? Then they don't show us anything. Again, it all sounds great. Something we've been asking for in Destiny 2. Something that, once again, should have been there from the beginning and wasn't. But it's going to be here in just a few more days. So why am I not excited for it? Well, because Nightfall still sucks. Adding what we hope will be new gear and not just some reskinned bullshit is of course a good thing. But here's the problem. Your chances of getting it is random. Maybe you get it on the first running of the weekly Nightfall. Maybe you don't get it at all this time around, and you have to wait until the next time this specific strike becomes the weekly Nightfall. Still, I'm cool with all that. I think that's great. But then what happens when you get it? Because we don't have random rolls, once you get that weapon or armor piece, there's no need to go back. This means, in a few months, maybe more, we're back to square one. This is the continued problem with Bungie. They don't seem to be able to see these long-term effects. They dumbed down Destiny 2, and they're trying to win us back with more dumbed down things. Yes, strike-specific Nightfall loot is a good thing, but strike-specific loot once gotten, and it's game over. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, videos like this are hard for me to do because I hate making them, but it's all that there is left to do in the game. I've done everything else there is to do with the exception of the raid, and it's not something I'm even remotely interested in doing. But to be honest, I want to do it at least once or twice so I can get some of the weapons. It's like trials. I hate trials. It's not a true competitive thing. It's two goofy game modes that are the most boring, unfun game modes to have ever been invented. But I did it for the weapons. I got a few, and with each new one I get, I have less and less interest in continuing it. I want to be making good gameplay videos. I want to show and tell you about how fun the weekly Nightfall was, how I soloed it, or what happened if I went into guided games. I want to show you some new quest or secret something that I found. But those things don't exist in Destiny 2. Pretty much the entire game of Destiny 2 takes the hardcore player about a month to do everything. That includes the Curse of Osiris. In fact, that's being nice. The PC version has been out for, 2 months? And I've seen gamers that had maxed out everything after about a week. It took me about 2 weeks to max out all my characters after Curse of Osiris, except for my Warlock. She was stuck at 334 for a couple of months. I never got a 330 Warlock bond. But I had done all the story missions on each character within a couple of days. It took me about a week, maybe 2, to get all those forged weapons from the wall in the lighthouse. And that was it. And pretty much all those weapons were worthless. There's just nothing left to do but make videos highlighting all the flaws in the game. They came up with these new emblems. They kept me entertained for a few days, but they are just hopelessly futile because they keep track of things like it means something. But without ever knowing what you've scanned or on every planet, you never know when you're done. And that gets old real quick. It's just busy work. Had Bungie thought to show us what we're working towards, like instead of just saying we scanned 25 things on Nessus, it instead said that we scanned 25 out of 31 things. Cool. We know that we need to keep looking. As of right now, the average player doesn't know. And it's hard to spend time running around a planet scanning shit, knowing that maybe you've scanned everything already and are just wasting your valuable time looking for something that doesn't exist. These are the problems with Destiny 2, and the problems with a lot of the updates. It's all just so obviously busy work. It's not properly thought out, and it's more frustrating than helpful. Sure, shiny new things can be fun, but when that fun wears off, it wears off quickly, and then you're back to being reminded that you're sadly in love with a game that has nothing of any substance to offer you. I hope with everything that I'm wrong about these new updates. I want so much to feel powerful within the game again, but almost every single change Bungie has made over the past couple of months has been uninspiring. Each one of these new updates promised so much, and so far each one of them has been a complete letdown. I know several gamer channels that said they love the new Nightfall, and I get it. Even the worst players in the game can complete the weekly Nightfall now. The scoring is easily manipulated, so every high score then becomes suspect. The feeling of challenge is gone from it, and eventually these gamers will see it too, because these are the same gamers that love Destiny 2 beta. Then they love Destiny 2 the game. Then after 2 or 3 months, they finally started to admit to themselves how bad it was. They remind me of one of the lines from one of those strikes on Mercury, where Segura says he's caught in a window in time, trying to steal the map before we can get it. He'll fail every time, but he doesn't know that. That's how so many of these gamers are. It's like they're in a loop of being impressed at every shiny new thing thrown at them. They love it every time, but eventually they get bored with it and realize it wasn't all that it was cracked up to be. But I get it. I do it too. I want so bad for this game to become interesting. I want there to be things to do that are not just simply busy work. And with each new update, I'm so excited for it. But then usually about a week or 2 before the update, Bungie starts to release the details, and then the dread starts to set in. I realize that once again, They had the simplest of jobs to do and still managed to get it wrong. I hope that I will wake Wednesday morning so excited to share the news about how amazing these new updates are. I hope that I can post a video of how the new Crucible feels with their new abilities, how the Nightfall feels, how public events feel. Legit, my plans as of right now is to get a hold of my buddy Medium and beg him to run Nightfall with me several times come Tuesday night so I can have a video of it. Maybe even show off one or two of the new rewards. Wednesday morning I want to make another video that talks about the way Destiny 2 feels with their new added power and abilities, how the new damage feels with the weapons, and I want another video of some Crucible gameplay. I'm hoping for at least 3 videos that Wednesday morning. Actually, I'm hoping that the new feeling of power is so overwhelming that I actually can't wait until Wednesday and I have to put out a quick video late Tuesday afternoon about how awesome these new changes feel. This is how excited I get for every update. My plan is always the same, but an hour, 2 hours after the updates have come, I realize that, well, nothing really changed. I want all of this though because I love the game. I want to say great things about it. I want to compliment Bungie on a job well done. I know these are good people that are trying so very hard, and it kills me to keep reporting back at how they screwed something up again. You have no idea how many times I've started writing a script for a video like this and then just stopped because it just seems like another video bashing Bungie. I'm tired of it. But I run a gaming channel for the game of Destiny, and when there's no new content to show you all, I have 2 choices. I can start playing other games and posting those videos, or I can stay true to the game I love and be as honest about it as I can. When it sucks, I'm going to say it sucks, but I'm always going to say why it sucks and try to offer suggestions on how it can be fixed. And on those rare occasions the game doesn't suck, I'm going to gladly say how great it is. I hope this Tuesday it will be the latter. I hope these coming changes make a significant difference in how the game feels and plays. Good or bad, I'll be here to let you know. And that's it for this video. If you like this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Views are great, but likes and subscriptions, those make it all worthwhile. I've never been paid to make any one of these videos. I'm not a Google partner or YouTube partner. No one has ever donated money to this channel. Though that'd be nice, it's not why I make these videos. I mostly make them because I love this game, mostly. And I want the game to be better, and every single like and subscription tells me that you feel the same way. But above all that, thanks for watching.